What up, everybody? It's the Build Different podcast. Sean and myself, usual suspects here. Wanted to talk a little bit about a trip that I recently went on. I wish you could have gone on it as well with me, Sean. You've been to Georgia Tech and attended some of these conferences. This one was really cool. Got to accomplish a lot of things while I was out there. Met a lot of cool people, and as always, you've been to these. You start networking and building your portfolio of names and backgrounds and different people that you can help, they can help you, and so you've seen it firsthand. But this is a really cool one. I wish you would have been able to go out there.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to hear about it. I've heard a little bit about it, but I'm excited for our viewers to hear about it as well. So, um, this was a pediatric technology conference, right, at Georgia Tech?
Yeah, I actually will probably post it, but I got some credit hours, so some medical credit credit hours, like 5. So
There we go.
uh, don't plan on getting a medical degree of any sort or entering that realm of expertise. We work with them, but yeah, got some credit hours, which was cool.
So, what was some of the main goals of the conference? What were some of the main, companies that were talking, things like that? You want to go into a little bit about what you experienced there?
Well, for the first thing was, is like, as you know, one thing we always try and do when we go out to Atlanta for these conferences is we get together with our group that we've been working with, Dr. Yao, his lab. So obviously, what we're working on is very much in collaboration with them. So our technology, our different things we want to implement in the future is they've done some of those things already, but you know part of it is always going out there and making sure that we go visit them, we talk to them, share where we're at, they share where they're at. And this time was a little different because I got to see their new facility. That you've been to their old building, in the I think it was the nanotechnology building. But this is a new building. Offices are even nicer than the old ones. The clean room is there was a clean room up. I think it was upstairs in their old building. This clean room is downstairs and encompasses the pretty much the length of the entire building. It's huge. So the clean room was really cool. Then the offices are really cool as well. It's a more, you remember UCF, like you had kind of the older buildings. Like I think the old business building was old, but then they have
Matt?
like some of the newer buildings kind of closer to the I didn't hang out on campus like you did, but there's the newer buildings that were kind of by the like the food hall type of spot.
Yeah, the engineering buildings were newer. There was like
Yeah,
the college of business was generally newer, but like yeah, the math building or like the
see the math
buildings
building.
that I went to for like English classes typically, those were old buildings for sure.
I couldn't remember. I was in and out. I just went to class, and I think it was Garage F and stuff like that. There was some new buildings connected to those, but I don't know. To be honest, if I was to go back on that campus, I wouldn't even know where the hell to go. I was lost when I was going to class. I just go literally park in the garage closest to the building I was going in and go. But yeah, it's kind of like that. The older buildings, like where you took English, was where their old office was. Now, the building that they're in now is like the newer business building, and so it's really nice in there. And they have added space. They still have some of the space that they had in the old building as well. Remember, he has his display with all the stuff in it.
Yep.
I think he's leaving that there, and then he's gonna have a display with their new stuff. But for anybody that's watching, the group is called Wish. It's the Wearable Intelligent System and Healthcare, I believe. Sean's going to look it up, but we have a partnership with them now, and we're one of the sponsor. Uh, we're one of the corporate like kind of sponsors that we help them out with things, and they also have we wrote some recommendation letters for some of the partnerships with Korean Institute of Technology and things like that. So Korean Institute of Technology is that also a group that we can science and Korean Institute of Science and Technology is another group that we have an opportunity to work with. So it was good, essentially catching up with them. And it sounds like you have it is Wearable Intelligence System for Healthcare, right?
Yes, it's the Center for Wearable Intelligence Systems in Healthcare. So
Yeah, so really cool group, and it gives us access to even more engineers, material scientists, just every a lot because there's always connections there with Georgia Tech and different researchers, but we have them even closer. We have an even closer grip on them now through working with Wish. So shout out to Wish and anybody that's looking to do any type of research, especially in terms of healthcare, electronic systems. We'll link them in the podcast. But so it's cool seeing them, getting to meet them, showing them where we are with our designs right now. They committed to helping us with something, which I was thankful for. So that was kind of the start of the trip. And, we were actually invited out there by them to this pediatric conference. So, that's another form of support we always like to do because Dr. Yao's hosting it essentially. So that was the main reason to heading out there, supporting them, catching up with them. But there was other reasons which we'll get into as well.
yeah, and like we've always said, Dr. Yao has been a huge, part of what we've done so far, the research that we've done, getting, our product to where we are now. So always, thankful for him and thankful for the people at Georgia Tech. And yeah, no,
Yeah,
that sounds great.
I was gonna say as well, like it's cool because literally our goal is commercializing a lot of things that they research as well. So a lot of things that they're doing that are like really, really cool. We have the opportunity to take it and put it into like a production version and help benefit people. So they, from the research perspective, seeing what's possible, they do a very good job of that. And then we're kind of in the implementing it and bringing it to the world part of the, development cycle. Um, but yeah, you asked me about it was officially the 2024 annual Southeastern Pediatric Research Conference. So out there was Emory. I think there was Emory out there. There was I was trying to remember. It was a couple of weeks. Emory, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Um, who were the other schools out there? There was a bunch of local of the medical schools out there, and so the presentations were all really, really cool. Um, I think one thing that people don't realize is technologies. These people that do all this work, and I'm sitting in this room with all these people that are literally building things that people may not think so much about when, say, for instance, they have their baby and there may be a complication, or their children's battling a disease or cancer or sickle cell or anything like that. That there's these researchers in the background that have done all of this legwork and all of this research that have led to the things they use that literally have either saved the lives or they have like enhanced them or basically helped them to get over something. I think that was a really cool thing, and that's what was kind of displayed throughout the entire conference.
And yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree with what you're saying. And the other thing too is, pediatrics specifically, it's like, it's almost its own niche thing, because
Hmm.
obviously you have like psychology, you have like all these other different types of healthcare, but pediatrics is really its own thing because if you think about it, doing a procedure, doing a treatment on someone who's fully grown, whose brain is
Hmm.
fully developed and everything like that is significantly different than the way that you're going to do it on a toddler or an infant or even, a young child, So it is very interesting to see. And I remember I was talking to one of my friends who's a resident right now for um, pediatric neurology, and she was telling me how that's a complete like, because neurology is a study of the brain and stuff, but like she was telling me it's like you can't just have a neurologist go and see a child. Like it's so different having a fully developed human brain versus someone who's trained to specifically look at you know, a brain that is still very much early in the development process. So
Yeah,
I think, pediatrics is cool. I'm glad that, this is getting the publicity that it's getting, and that, there's starting to be, well, I mean, there's always been somewhat of a focus, but that it's, getting the research funds and getting its own conference like this to show off everything
truly
that they're doing.
the best. Yeah, I still have it on my desk.
Nice.
Um, mhm. But yeah, it was amazing. And shout out to Morehouse as well, historically black college that was out there. Also, their medical school was out there. I meant to mention them. Um, but I think one of the coolest things as well is I really want to go out there and meet. I've always told the story of how, and I'm telling it again here, how when I first had this idea for this technology, it's evolved over time, and then it became this thing where it was, it came to me in a form factor that I was like, damn, like if I could do it this way, this would be an incredible product because not only would it be able to facilitate like gauging human performance, but it would also be a way to capture people's biometrics and capture physiological data, be a way to capture, basically a lot of the vitals that athletes and even, everyday people are trying to monitor. You know what I mean? And so when I had the vision for this technology, looking around, Google searching, is anybody else doing it? The guy that came up was Dr. John Rogers. And the thing with John Rogers is he was very much he was the man, in this genre of technology that I kind of envisioned. He was the person to the closest example of what I wanted our technology to become. He was working on the most similar type of technology. So back then I was like, you know, just Ricky without Extropian, Ricky, no advanced technology, Ricky by himself, just kind of writing stuff on a napkin at that point, and looked him up and saw him. It's like, man, like how can Ricky, the guy writing the stuff on the napkin, go from writing the stuff on the napkin to working with somebody like John Rogers? I was like, man, this guy's he's just way too big. I'm just this little guy. I'm not gonna be able to ever, even be in the same room or rub elbows with this guy. And years later, we did our, kind of a proof of concept with Georgia Tech Research, biomedical and software and hardware, material science research engineers, to then working with Yao. And come to find out, Dr. Yao is the postdoc, kind of the protege of Dr. John Rogers. So he was out there. So that was one of the other main reasons I really want to go out there because, it just kind of came full circle from where I was like, damn, like I'll never get to meet this guy. Man, he's a rock star in this industry and stuff like that. And man, like, why would he want to associate with somebody, writing stuff on napkins that, and to actually meeting him. And then the really cool thing was seeing him and Yao side by side, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it was like really like the vision you had and the wishes and dreams you had coming to fruition like right before your eyes.
Yeah, and I think I heard that you got to talk to John Rogers a little bit, right? At the
Yeah, I
conference?
actually told him, I was like, dude, yeah, me Jordan guy. I told him you're the Michael Jordan of this industry, and so it's like really cool. You're the goat of this industry, at least here in the U.S. So I was like, man, it's really cool to meet you. And I showed him what we're working on. He's like, man, that's really cool. He's like, and he was asking me a couple questions about it. So it was like meeting. I hate using the word idol because I don't view anybody really like idols, but really meeting somebody you looked up to and somebody that was really influential and a lot of people look up to, and that they're really, a lot of the technologies, a lot of the research that you're seeing done in this area have been based on something that he kind of started off with. You know what I mean? And that's around the world. That's not just here in the U.S. A lot of research, a lot of the things being done, a lot of things we use now came from him and his group at Northwestern. And he spun off like a ton of different companies. So to meet him and to really get, to show him what we're working on and feedback and all that, man, it was a dope experience. Like, yeah, and then, we talked and he was like, yeah, he's like, you're kind of working with my competition now, yeah, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I got the younger, so I got the younger version of you, hopefully more innovative version of you working with us. So, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I know. It's cool that they're still, connected as well. Like obviously, yeah, working with him back in the day, and um, they still have that relationship where something like this conference, they're both there and things like that.
Yeah. Yao invited him. Yao sets up these conferences that we've been going to, him and other faculty and all everybody in that local area. So it's weird, the research industry, because it's not like the it's not like the you know the industry, that competitive industry of like selling products, or they it's like they leverage each other's knowledge and everything and the research, and they compete, but they're not really competing. It's really a collaborative effort. And the goal, like I said, is to help industries, and in this particular one is to help the healthcare industry and help children and help you and I like live a better, healthier life.
Well, it always seems too like based on, research papers that you and I have both read, or that like, so much of it is referencing the work done by the people before them. So it's like a lot
Hmm.
of like, as like you said, yes, it is somewhat of a competition, but at the same time, it's more of a, okay, this person found this out. How can, how can we elaborate on that, or how can we innovate past that? Like take another step forward in this direction or that direction, and by the end, it's like that's what's going to keep innovation driving forward is this
Hmm.
continued kind of expansion upon what's already there. Versus, guys that are constantly like, competing or trying to say, "Oh, no, I'm right, you're wrong, blah blah blah." It seems a lot more collaborative.
Yeah, the it's collaborative. It's very it's very different from the for-profit industry. You know what I mean? The nonprofit industry, uh, research and all that is very collaborative. And even though John Rogers has companies, and some of these companies, man, you should see some of the stuff they're doing. It's crazy. But he has companies and everything. They still leverage each other's research, and not really like, we're like built, we're developing IP, and we're like, oh, we got to make sure we protect it, make sure, these people over here, this that we view as competitors, don't, like we can keep our secret sauce, They're at these, shows that the conferences basically showing everything off. You know what I mean? And like you said, it's just to keep advancing technology versus the for-profit industry, and we're interested in commercializing and things like that. We're trying to smash anything around us. You know what I mean? We're trying to crush everything around us. Really, you know what I mean? And capitalistic society, whatever. Um, but yeah, no, John Rogers. That was it was cool because right after I connected with him on LinkedIn as well, and it's cool, to call him a colleague now. You know what I mean? I can reach out to him and hopefully he answers, but I'm sure he will. But we, I can say that, I rubbed elbows with the guy. You know what I mean? Years ago, it's just kind of speaks to like every step of this whole thing, where you kind of start off and then you see things as this big, giant hurdle that you got to get over, or I'm not going to be able to do this, or how would that person interact with me? And then you keep taking these steps, and like I said, it came full circle. We got to rub elbows with the guy, be in the same conference with him, speak with him, collaborate with him, hopefully in the future.
Yeah, I mean that's excellent, and we've had previous episodes where we've talked about making connections, networking, how important that is in business, in life. You never know what conversation you've had or what connection you've made that can pay dividends in the long run, and or how you could potentially help someone else in the long run, them making a connection with you. So definitely cool to hear that, how that went down in person, and making a connection with someone of the pedigree of Dr. Rogers.
Yeah,
Um,
and
and
also too, I was gonna say just showing off what we're doing and being like, oh, him understanding like, man, if you guys did this, like I could see, man, that's gonna be huge. Just and then getting encouragement from him to keep pushing because what we're doing is, he sees the vision.
yeah, getting that validity from someone like him is always good. I mean, we obviously believe in what we're doing, but it never
Mhm.
hurts to have more people, buying in, or at least saying, that they understand the vision, they understand the value added that we're hoping to bring to the market in the near future. So, but yeah, I mean, back to the conference a little bit. I know you talked a little bit about some of the different colleges that were there, some of the different people that were there.
Hmm.
Um, what were some of the presentations that really stood out to you?
Um, yeah, I was just refreshing my memory going through the list of different the people that came up. One of the cool things that always happens is you've seen. I think the ones we went to, they didn't do the one you went to last time with me. They didn't do this, but in this one, literally in between the actual lecturers and the different the different lecturers, the different speakers. They had the where the students do their abstracts.
Yep.
They had them presenting around the room again in different rooms, but they also had them come up and discuss them. So it was cool seeing the students and a lot of the really cool the problems that they're tackling and trying to solve in different ways. I mean, from cancer research to unbiasing health data to, I mean, you name it, these students were working on it. And Yao even had one of his students up there. I think she was produced a device to capture health metrics in impoverished companies countries. Sorry. And that was a really cool display. So that was cool because that was mixed in between, like right before we would hit like a break, they would have the students come up, and then we all voted via app. That was actually the QR code on the back here.
Nice.
We actually would scan that and then go vote for the presentation that we liked the most. So I forget the gentleman that won, but they were all interesting, and I applaud each one of the students because man, it's some crazy stuff that they were engaging in there and some groundbreaking technologies. But um, one of the ones that really hit, you've been to these things before. I don't think you would necessarily say you would be shedding any tears. Maybe some of the displays of some of the symptoms that people have, or maybe some of the diseases and stuff people go through. It may make you feel a certain type of way, like damn, like that's a bad state to be in, like, and you kind of like, damn, thank God for my health and family's health, because man, I wouldn't want to see anybody go through that. But I wouldn't say that any of the conferences we went to, we were ready to shed a tear or anything, right?
Yeah, no, I would
Um,
agree.
so there was a Elizabeth Stenger. She's assistant professor division of hematology oncology, bone marrow. She's from the department of pediatrics at Emory University. She did a presentation, and it was basically a cellular presentation, talking about her like the way she's helping to combat sickle cell disease. And so, I knew a little bit about sickle cell because just my own research, and I've known people with sickle cell trait. I've known people that have had sickle cell, but I never, I guess, was brought into the world of somebody that actually had it. So, first of all, she went up and presented, and seeing what she was doing to solve the problems was one thing. But actually, after that was, and this is where everybody, I had never seen people at a tech conference, medical conference, anything, start to tear up. Like you're looking around the room, people are crying and wiping their tears from their eyes. But It was essentially Victoria Gray. She came up and told her story about her battle with sickle cell, and for her it was like hearing it firsthand from somebody that's gone through it, and just hearing like her talk about her experience and like the thought of dying, like potentially dying at any moment. Um, it was man, it was tough, but she's essentially, I mean, the way she told the story was just being born with it and dealing with it as a child, not being able to live a normal life. Like, what I mean, you and me going out to recess and playing, and she's got to worry about the pain she's going through. And then having a family and then not, worrying about not being there for our kids. Like one of the things I think when people start to break down the most is when they were talking about our kids acting up in school. And the kids were like teachers calling and stuff like that. And the teachers like telling them like, yeah, your kids are doing X, Y, and Z at school. And then having a heart to heart with her and telling her, well, your kids are acting this way because they're like, as much, they're misbehaving because it's like I might go home and my mother might be dead. You know what I mean? Like, so hearing that from a child and then hearing, and her hearing that and like, damn, I gotta, try and be there for my kids. And second of all, her husband was out at serving in the military. So she's like a
Oh
single
wow.
mother. So washing her clothes, like stuff that you and I are like, man, we don't feel like doing this around the house. She would love to do that, but she couldn't. You know what I mean? Because of pain, because of what she's going through every day, and so many hospitalizations, being stuck in the hospital all the time during holidays, and you know what I mean. It was tough to hear, but I mean, it had a very happy ending because through work that these people are doing, that these conferences we go to, she was the first person to use CRISPR gene editing to manipulate her genes to combat the sickle cell disease. And she said that after years and years of trying so many different things, she used that. She got the call from because the people that go to these things a lot of times they volunteer for different studies, different a lot of times they don't work, sometimes they do. But for her, she tried a bunch of different things, and she got this phone call. She's like, "Sure, I'll try one more thing." And she said, next thing you know, she woke up pain free one morning, and then she was like
Wow.
talking about how she was like telling her kids, she's like, "Am I dead?" Or because I'm like, I've gone through so much pain, I'm waking up this morning with no pain. Like maybe I'm dead. Like so, she called her kids in there, like just to see if they could see her. You know what I mean? Because she's like, this is an odd feeling to be pain free and wake up pain free and not feel like, man, I could die today. So her kids saw her and she was like, okay, I am real. My kids pinched me. And so she got up there. I mean, it was a powerful story. And I think it hit home to everybody in there that, and then I forget who came up after and spoke and were like telling all of the med students in there, like, and technologists in there, like, when you are frustrated in the office and you're under a microscope and you don't get the results that you want and you don't maybe something goes wrong, a test fails, whatever. Think you remember this story because the people that have helped her went through the same thing you might have been going through, and you just got to keep pushing ahead to help keep innovating and keep solving these problems. Don't get frustrated because look at the results that your work can yield. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
for
that
sure.
was that was a really touching moment, and just powerful, man. And it was just like, damn, I didn't cry, but it was you start to feel emotional. You know what I mean? Everybody around me's crying, so it was touching, but it was a great ending to the story, essentially.
Yeah, I feel like you don't see that as much with like technology, kind of conference like, in the technology world. It's like, yes, there's some technology that, you know, in especially in healthcare that can help with diseases, can help with, you know, lots of other health related issues, but, you know, actually hearing the first person recollection of it and
Hmm.
their experience, what they were going through, and then how it changed their life. I mean, that's super powerful.
Yeah, it was cool being around the first person that's ever done something, and she's literally going around and telling people about her experience, and now she can live her life pretty much pain free, and a lot of the dreams that she had to sacrifice her time to make happen, she could do that. And more than anything, live a happy, healthy life with her kids. You know what I mean? Pain free. So
And and the other crazy part too is the bravery that it takes to be the first person to try one
hmm
of those, because obviously I'm sure a lot of those things go through, when you do medical trials and stuff, they go through testing and stuff like that, but you never fully know how it's going to affect a human being until you start testing with human beings. And then, you know, being the first person to do that is incredibly scary, I feel like.
yeah, I think it's like they had to show the different phases. That's obviously in the lab, then animal testing, which is kind of but then human trials, vivo, I think, in vivo, I forget what they. But yeah, it was really cool, and um, yeah, it was just good to hear her story. And I shook her hand after and talked to her and told her like, man, that was a very moving story. Um, but it was good. It was great, man. Um, it was just watching the different presentations as well. Because the sad thing, they would blur out the kids' faces and stuff like that, but you could see babies, tubes all over them, tubes, and it's tough to see some of the presentations, even though what they were showcasing was like their solution to these problems. You know what I mean? For cystic fibrosis to even the drainage systems that they use to drain bad fluids from the babies. But the cool thing was seeing the solutions that were less intrusive, less like demanding on their little bodies. That all of these different researchers were doing. Like John Rogers has a bunch of slides where it showed the the what's being used now to test, what's being used now to help versus what him and his group have created, and it's just like, oh, this is so small, and the baby can move around, and they can have a better quality of life with that type of technology versus status quo what's being used now. So that was a cool thing. But the one thing I did get out of it was like I was telling, I've had a couple friends, obviously my godson being one of them, my great nephew, and a couple friends that have had kids or about to have kids, is like, man, seeing all of the different symptoms that people are working on, like the different diseases, different ailments, different complications that have occurred, like you really have to thank God that you had a healthy and strong baby, because there are so many things as presented in these presentations that could go wrong. You know what I mean? And you know, even ourselves have to be thankful to God that we're born healthy, because man, these kids go through a lot, and in through adulthood, that we get up every morning and we might be upset about, I don't want to go to work, or oh, this thing is happening, or oh, that's person pissed me off. But these people are waking up every day, potentially wondering if they're going to die, waking up in such severe pain that um it's life worth living for them. You know what I mean? And so we take that for granted. So we have to be thankful. My friends having kids, as soon as I'm watching these presentations, I'm texting them like, man, be thankful that so and so was born with no issues, and you came out unscathed, birthing the baby or whatever, because there are a lot of things that can unfortunately go wrong.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about with regards to the conference, with regards to, the visit to just Georgia Tech, the Wish Center, um, anything like that?
No, just September. There's gonna be another one, so if you want to roll, let me know. But I probably go out to that one. Told you I'll come out, and Josh as well. Shout out to Josh with Wish that I would go out and support them again. So, and then
Is it
it's
another
always great, like you
pediatric
said,
one,
man.
or is it something else?
I forget what this one is. It's a health related one, but I'm not sure if it was pediatric. I'll let you know.
Gotcha.
Um, but I think too, it's cool. Like I said, to rub elbows with people that a lot of people don't know are working in the background to solve many of the issues that you may never even see with your child, with yourself, because they had technologies that the medical staff at your local hospital or facilities use to prevent something. Um, so it's really cool to meet these people. They're the kind of the silent heroes that are doing things in the background that you may never see. You know what I mean? You may never see, you may never feel, and if you do see and feel it, then you kind of maybe have a better grasp on the work that they're doing. But these people are in the business of saving lives and improving lives, and it's cool to rub shoulders with them and be able to work with them. Because we do get to work with quite a few of them. Um, and then too, it's like from our standpoint as a company as well, and our belief in improving life, improving performance, improving health and safety. It fits right in with what we're doing as well. So, hopefully we can get that same sense of accomplishment and same sense of like just helping people and making the world a better place through what we're doing. And I think that's the key to really what we're doing. You know what I mean? Are we in the business of making money and profit? Yeah, we're a for-profit company, but that doesn't mean um, that we're different in our mindset of as to the not-for-profit research side of technology, where they're just doing it for the cause and for innovating and for helping. Our mindset's very much aligned with that thinking. So that's our goal, and so yeah, hopefully we get that same sense of accomplishment and making a change in people's lives.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree as well. It's just like you said, just because there's a company that's for profit or that's going to, that is making a profit and cares about money doesn't mean that they don't care about making the world a better place. And I think, that we've talked about that. We've talked about, our whole motto is, helping people break through their perceived limits. Like that's, yes, are we selling a product in collaboration with that? Sure, but it doesn't change the fact that we still want everyone to be the best version of themselves, everyone to redefine what's possible. It's it can go hand in hand.
Yeah, yeah, and hopefully that's what we get across to consumers, anybody that uses our technology as well. And that's one of the things, and I always talk about, and we talk about all the time, is like, yeah, there's some existing things out there. Um, are they really helping people? Yeah, to a degree, but we really want to make an impact in people's lives, and you know, while we're for profit, we really want people to know how much we care uh about them, about advancing just humanity forward, and we want everybody to feel like at their best, at their peak. You know, be the best version of yourself, and hopefully we accomplish that, and that's our goal essentially. So, yep.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to end it, unless you had anything else.
No, that was it. I mean, that's kind of the mic drop. That's what we want to do. So,
Yeah, so I mean, if you're watching this, make sure to check out the Wish Center at Georgia Tech. You know, check out some of the different conferences that they're having there. We've been to a few of them. They're great. They're informative, especially if you're interested in getting into the business of healthcare, technology, things like that. Super informative. Lots of great potential connections to make there. And also, it's supporting, the researchers that are, behind the scenes doing all the work, trying to cure diseases, trying to make the world a better place. So,
yeah, I was gonna say as well, like if you have something that you're dealing with, a family member, a loved one, a friend, could be a complete stranger, coworker that they don't they don't think there's help on the horizon. It's always cool to visit these conferences because there is a source of help out there. There is somebody working on something to fix a potential disease state or an issue. So, it's really giving hope to the hopeless in a lot of ways. So, though that's another reason why these conferences are really cool to come to, because it will give you a source of hope and let you know that there are people out there that care about you, even though you may feel like the healthcare system or your insurance company doesn't. There's somebody out there that's fighting for you essentially in the labs in the clean rooms and so forth.
Yeah. I completely agree. So yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to close this out. So yeah, unless you had something else, but
No, you got it.
yeah, with that being said, like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully, if you're watching this retroactively, you see, kind of what we're about, our cause, like the people we're working with. We're not your standard company, man. We're different. That's why it's to build different podcasts. So with that being said, we hope you guys have a great, productive week. Have a healthy and safe weekend, and peace and blessings.